Well, friends, took out a loan, but now you can't pay it back, you have no money? Another payment is coming up, and your finances are singing romances? Or maybe you have already missed your loan deadline and now the bank is calling you and insistently demanding money from you. Well, in all these cases, one thing is obvious: you have a problem. Congratulations. And since this is so, then we will solve this problem in this article of mine. The bank, of course, will not leave you alone. Do not even hope for this, because it needs to get its money back. Well, in the meantime, you, being nervous, do not even know what you should do. And really, what to do if you have no money to pay the loan, how to solve this problem? Nothing, do not worry, this problem is solvable if you approach it from the right side. The main thing here is not to panic and not to get nervous, because emotions only interfere with thinking and reasoning. First of all, take full responsibility for what happened. Stop blaming the bank for demanding that you repay the loan, if of course these accusations on your part take place. The bank is not guilty of anything. It provided you with its money, at interest, which you took of your own free will and which you used at your own discretion, and now it has the right to demand that you repay it. Even if the bank or any credit institution imposed a loan on you, you were not forced to take it by force, you were simply persistently offered it. You could have refused if you wanted. And if you have a very weak character, because of which you succumbed to the tempting offers of the bank and thereby drove yourself into debt, then this is a big problem for you, which you yourself need to solve, with psychologists or someone else. Basically, people take out loans of their own free will because this money allows them to buy things that are simply impossible to buy with a regular salary, and most people do not know how and do not want to save money. They want to live here and now, buying everything they want, without having real funds for it. The bank helps them do this, it lends them money. But it lends it to them, it does not give it as a gift. And debts must be repaid. Therefore, look at your situation with sober eyes, without any emotions and selfishness, because you and no one else are to blame for the fact that you cannot repay the loan. Shift the responsibility for this problem of yours to other people, and it will only get worse because of this, while the solution to this problem lies in the plane of your understanding of your screw-up and the situation in which the bank found itself because of you. Understand the bank's position, and let it know that you understand it. If they call you and demand that you repay the loan, threatening you and putting pressure on you, this is their tactic. Do not react negatively to this. Do not be afraid of anything and anyone, but do not show off either. Just say that you will try very hard to repay your loan and that you are very sorry that this happened. It doesn't matter how your words are perceived by the body communicating with you on the other end of the line, as weakness or as an indicator of your upbringing, education and literacy. You yourself simply do not be a stupid and impudent cattle that understands only a club, not words. If you owe money, say that you will return it. You will definitely return it and as quickly as possible. This will only calm you and the bank employees, because neither you nor they really need any showdowns. The bank has fulfilled its obligations to you. It allowed you to use its, not yours, but its money, for which it is responsible to its depositors, and now it is your turn to fulfill your obligations, that is, to return the bank's money. But if it so happened that you fell into a puddle, then you need to solve something. In general, your fall is not a problem. The problem is your unwillingness to get up and fix everything, in your panic and in your egoism. If you blame the bank for demanding money from you, you are an egoist, and your egoism manifests itself in a childish form. Adults are also egoists, but they are smart and cunning egoists. They understand that no one owes them anything in this world, and any cooperation between people is built on a mutually beneficial basis. No, well, if you are a really cool person and are not afraid of anyone, if you, like the US government, which lives on debt and is not going to repay it, also do not want to repay anything to anyone, then you can spit on other people's interests and wait until someone breaks your skull for your insolence. But if you are an adequate person, then you must answer for your actions, and all your debts should be repaid voluntarily, and not under duress. Don't listen to those who say that only cowards pay off their debts, because many of these talkers get their shit beat out of them from time to time, and then they start to squeak differently. If you want to have normal relationships with people, if you want to communicate with them in a human language, then get it into your head that if you owe money but can't pay it back, it's your fault. Read my article called Where to Get Money for a Business. It will be useful to you if you decide, or better yet, dare to start your own business. And in order not to borrow money from a bank for this business, you can get it in another way. I know what I'm writing about. I myself have not taken out loans for my businesses, although I could have done so without negative consequences for myself. So, if we have already figured out that there is no need to argue with the bank when it is not the bank that owes you money, but you owe it, and you now understand that you need to communicate with its employees politely and culturedly, regardless of their behavior, then let's move on to the next stage of solving your problem. You should not let the bank start reminding you about your loan. You yourself must come to it, to the bank, and report your temporary financial difficulties. Moreover, you must do this officially, by writing a statement addressed to the bank director, in which you indicate that you visited the bank and informed its employees that you had difficulties repaying the loan. Then ask the bank employees, some managers there are always a lot of them in the bank, these are usually boys in cheap suits, with a strained intelligent expression on their faces and pride in their work, what you can and what you should do to repay your loan, considering that you have no money. I do not promise you that these managers, even if there are many of them around you, will be able to give you a truly competent answer to your question, but still pay attention to their offers, because any bank has experience in solving such problems. Do not think that you are the first one who cannot cope with a loan. There are plenty of people like you, and every day, judging by the statistics, there are more and more. Banks should know how to solve such problems, and therefore all these numerous managers will definitely tell you something. If they start to bully you, just ignore all their bullying, because there is no point in arguing with them, and if they do not have constructive proposals for you, then this is their problem. But you will also have to cope with your problem on your own. The loan, no matter what, must be repaid, otherwise they will not leave you alone. And before continuing to consider possible options for action on your part, I suggest you pay attention to my article entitled How to Get Your Money Back. This article, thanks to the recommendations it contains, will help you get back your money that you once lent to someone and that they don't return to you. Study it carefully. In it I give very practical advice on solving such problems. You see how many problems can arise in this life because of debts, and all these problems with debts arise because of the irresponsibility and stupidity of people who do not think about the consequences when they do something, and in particular, they do not think about anything when they take out a loan. By the way, about responsibility, if you attracted guarantors when you took out a loan, then be sure to tell them about the situation in your life. Do not let down people who may help you more than once in the future. Keep in mind that because of your financial insolvency, they also become at risk, and the bank will also put pressure on them, as it puts pressure on you. They vouched for you when you asked them to, and now it is you who should do everything in your power so that these people do not get on your nerves. Do not give in to animal fear and start setting everyone up, thereby trying to save your own skin. Nothing terrible has happened and will not happen in your life if you act competently and calmly. The most important thing, and it is not by chance that I started with this, is for you to save face and remain a human being in such a difficult situation for you. Let's go further and see what else you can do. You can ask your bank to restructure your loan. To do this, you need to write a corresponding application. You will find a sample of such a letter on the internet. This will be an application for loan restructuring. Loan restructuring means freezing your monthly payments for a certain period of time that you need to improve your financial situation. This is a request on your part, nothing more and nothing less. I will write about loan restructuring in my subsequent articles. In the meantime, just consider this option for solving your loan problem. Keep in mind that the bank may refuse your request to freeze loan payments. It has every right to do so. So everything will depend on your ability to find a common language with people, and on the policy of the bank itself. It is not by chance that I strongly recommend that you communicate with bank employees very politely, despite their own behavior. After all, in each specific decision, which will depend on the goodwill of the bank that acts as your creditor, all the nuances of your cooperation with it will be taken into account. You understand that if you prove yourself to be a bore, no one will meet you halfway. Well, if the option with loan restructuring does not work, then you can try another, also quite interesting option to solve your problem. You can refinance your current loan, which you are unable to pay off. For this purpose, you will need to apply for a new loan in order to pay off the old loan, which you currently cannot pay off. Thus, you will not violate any of your obligations to the bank. However, the new loan will also need to be repaid, which, I hope, you understand. But this process will allow you to significantly reduce the size of your monthly payments, which for your situation, given your financial insolvency, can be a real salvation. You and I know that entire countries manage to live like this, constantly borrowing new loans in order to pay off their old debts with their help, and you, in principle, can also resort to such tactics. But this is just a tactic, not a strategy, because your strategy must take into account the return of all the money you borrowed. Sooner or later, but you will have to do this. You do not have a 700 billion military budget, so believe me, you will be asked to pay off all your debts. I hope that you understand this. I will offer you to read another article of mine, which is called What to Do If You Urgently Need Money. This one will definitely be useful to you in your situation, so be sure to read it. There is another option that you can use if you do not have money to pay the loan. We are talking about applying for a credit card, which must have a grace period. The credit limit may be small, but the grace period must be there. Having received such a card, you will be able to use the limit provided to you for a certain period of time. It is provided to you along with the card, and at the same time, you do not have to pay for its use. In most banks, the standard grace period is 55 days, and it is during this number of days that you will need to find money to pay off your problem loan. This option has its drawbacks, which we will not analyze now, and in itself it is not simple. But this, my friends, is an option that you can use to solve your problem. Of course, you will need to evaluate all the options proposed above before making a final decision on which one is best for you to use and whether these options will suit you at all. The main thing is that there are always ways out of any situation, you just need to know about them. And now, you know about them. And since you know, then look for an opportunity to use them. Just decide what will be best for you, which method will be convenient for you. I want to tell you about my own vision of solving a similar problem related to the inability to repay a loan. Taking a new loan to pay off an old one is, of course, great, even cool to some extent. But I don't think you're so cool that you can afford to get into debt without knowing how to repay it. It's good if you only need time, if you know for sure that you'll have money, that you'll be able to get it and use it to pay off your debts. But what if you don't know? If your financial problems are not accidental? Then it makes no sense for you to get into new debts, as they will then turn into new problems for you. New debts, if you don't know how to repay them, are not a long-term, but a short-term solution to your problem. They are a problem in themselves that awaits you in the future. You definitely need to think about where you can get money, other than from a bank. And in general, you should definitely think about your income and expenses, which are clearly not all right, since you can't even repay the loan. You earn money somehow, right? So where does your income go? Where does the money you intended to pay off the loan go? Pay attention to this and think about the necessity for you of those expenses, because of which you cannot keep anything from the money you earned. You will understand that your problem with the loan lies much deeper than this situation with its repayment. It lies in your inability to manage your money. Yes, I admit the possibility that you could lose your job or business, or you had unexpected financial difficulties due to the same unexpected cash expenses, but you should have taken this into account before taking out a loan. Nothing unexpected happens in such situations. There are only people who could not or did not want to foresee something. Therefore, you simply need to think carefully about your income and expenses right now. If you do not have a job, find one. And don't say that there is no work, because if there is no work that you need and want to do, it doesn't mean that there is none at all. You can do something different than what you are used to and what you studied for. Anyone can unload bags or carry boxes, regardless of their education. Sometimes it's hard in this life, and what did you expect? There is no stability in reality, but if you need to pay off your debts, please, don't disdain the work for which you will be paid in cash. And since you have found yourself in a problematic situation because of a loan, then be sure to read my article, which is called How to Profitably Take Out a Loan, so that next time you take out a loan from a bank, wisely. All your mistakes and errors with finances require the most thorough analysis on your part, or on the part of a specialist, whom you can turn to for help. Surely in your life there were and are such moments that you overlooked and which, due to your misunderstanding of them, led you to a state of affairs that is not the most pleasant for you. And these moments are your real current problems that you need to solve right now. The inability to repay a loan is a signal that tells you that you either do not know how to earn money, or do not know how to spend it, or perhaps you do not know how to do neither. A loan implies a regular monthly payment of a certain amount of money, usually affordable for most working people. And if you work, but cannot repay the loan, then this is either a very large loan, for which monthly payments are incredibly large, or your income is completely worthless. Or your expenses are so out of your control that you do not even have money left for the loan to pay it off. This is already a complete disaster. Let's think about what you could do right now. What kind of work could you possibly do to earn the amount of money you need to pay off your monthly loan payment? You have arms, legs, and a head on your shoulders. You can do something, right? Let's take an adult look at your money problem and try to find a way to solve it right now. Don't tell me, and at the same time convince yourself of this, that you can't earn a certain amount of money in one day or even in one moment. Everything is possible, you just need to find the most suitable way to do it for you, in which you will cope with the task set before you. I can find such a way for you, but, as you yourself understand, not for, thank you. After all, we are talking about the opportunity to earn money, and not about the opportunity to spend it. So think about what you should do, whether you will get into debt from one debt to another, or decide to find a way, with my help or on your own, to earn money in the nearest future, by doing work that you can do. In the meantime, I will suggest you read my article called Bad and Good Money, which will help you think about some very important things in life related to money. Money is money. It is always useful to learn something new about it, you must admit. And finally, I will allow myself to remind you of something. A loan is a very useful thing, in fact, maybe not always obligatory, but very useful, because a loan gives people such opportunities, in which they are able to live a better quality life. But loans must be taken wisely. This is when you think about how you will make monthly payments, even under the most unfavorable circumstances, which, in fact, can arise in the life of each of us. I hope that my article will help you solve your problem with a loan, and that in the future, you will no longer have these problems. Still, if you think about it, what would our life be like without loans? What could we afford then, on those rather modest, sometimes even miserable, salaries that most people are paid?